Kicking. Look at that.
All right, you guys. It is 2025. I almost said 2023.
It ain't
I
2023.
don't really know where the past 2 years have been, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're really excited to do this little kickoff call with you guys. What we really want to do is be able to give you guys some practical, simplified ways for your brain to flow into the new year and to flow with your personal life, your business, and yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Do you
Yeah.
want to say anything before we get started?
No, I always, it's funny. You go from one year to the next and you expect all this different stuff, but literally like today, it just starts flowing after a certain amount of time as
What, when we
far.
were doing content?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but the main thing I always like to start with January. I mean, like everything starts over. I mean, you guys are used to that with every month you have a new start over. And with Cincy, it's weird because your year usually runs from like June to June because of the incentive or, the incentive
Yeah.
ended or is about to end the end of this month. So it's weird. But starting off the new year just means new systems, new ways of doing business. And I just think it's always good. And every business, every job I had, January was you learn from what you did last year, what worked, what didn't work, what you were wanting to do, what you didn't get done. And now, how are we going to go into this year and actually focus on the right habits to get us through this year to get us to where we want to go?
Yeah, so if you're in the chat, hey, you can say hello. I know we did not do a call in December, so especially if we have anybody new, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Say hey. Yes, Justin's hat is up, the writing is upside down. Apparently that's a thing now. I don't get it, but apparently that's what people buy now. When he asked for it for Christmas, I was like, whatever. So it says Austin upside down. But we're really glad that you guys are still here with us. I mean, and I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, y'all are still here in Cincy. I mean, like you guys, we're excited and you're ready to, I don't know, like for me, I took December off. I don't know if y'all realize that, but I did. I've never taken December off in my business. I think that's one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
We did the party though, the Christmas
That was
party.
in November, honey.
Oh wow, that
That was
was
in
November.
November. Yep.
December flew by.
Yeah, so it really flew by, and I am feeling really refreshed and really focused. So the first thing I want to say before we get into tonight is if you have not taken the time after Christmas or after the holidays to just have a minute for yourself, just like this sounds so bad because this is recorded, but I don't care. I think it's important. Like a minute to yourself, you're not thinking about Scentsy for a week or so, like just to clear your head. I highly recommend that. Being with your family, being with your friends, being by yourself, taking a minute to realize like what is this year going to look like for you? What are your personal goals in life? Like what are you trying to achieve this year, and just being still and really just taking a breath before you jump right into Cincy this year. I want to just recommend that if you have never done that before. I've never done that until December of this year, and it was really helpful for me. So just making sure that before you just jump into the last month of the incentive and goals and all these things, just make sure you take a minute to yourself to really breathe and collect yourself and just to look at, reflect on the past year, but also taking in that this call tonight, by the way, is not about to be like, here's all these new systems and here's all these things. It's really going to be a different aspect of, hey, how do you really get your brain ready to do X, Y, and Z? So I'm going to start first, and then Justin has some really cool, like simple systems he's going to talk about. But what I'm going to first say to you guys are a couple main points that I think are super, super important. I know this helps me a lot every single time that I go into a new year. So I used to go into the new year and like have all these hardcore goals and like want to do all these things. And so a couple of these tips I'm going to give you, I actually didn't think about until the last couple years, and it's really helped me. So the first thing I want to say to you guys is for a top priority in 2025, and this is goes for your life and for your business. But the first thing that will really be helpful for you guys to prep for, I mean, honestly, I feel like this year in Cincy is going to be a really, really great big building year. So to prep for that, the most important thing that I do every year is I eliminate clutter. And so what I mean by that is whatever your Cincy space is, I want you to get a trash bag and I want you to throw stuff away you don't need. I want you to throw away the testers from 3 years ago. Nobody wants them. They probably stink. Yeah. Oh, look, we got
Bart in a minute.
I want you to get rid of anything that is going to block or distract or get in the way of what Cincy has for you this year. Okay. Totes, all kinds of things. Those of you that have teams, one thing you can do is you can put it all in like a big, like Tupperware bucket and you can say, hey, if anybody wants to roll by, I'm going to have this stuff on my porch. I've done that many times over my Cincy career, but testers, bags, paperwork, samples, old paper, anything that you have that is increased, like increasing in clutter is going to decrease productivity. So decreasing your clutter is going to increase productivity. It's going to eliminate distractions. So you're not going to be like, oh, wait, what is this flyer from like 10 months ago? No, throw it away. You're not going to use it. What is this system from 5 months ago or this notebook? Throw it away. You're not going to use it. These are things that if you don't eliminate clutter, you're going to get really caught up in like all these old things that didn't work or just junk. And that is not, it's just not good for Cincy, for your Cincy business, because it's going to decrease your productivity, decrease your focus. And I did a training a couple years ago. I still have it on my YouTube channel, but if you're new here, it's called Mise en Place. And so there's a couple
Mise en place.
class, whatever. And it's
Chef term.
pretty much just prepping for your year. Okay. The second thing is creating a fresh space. All right. So if you don't have a Cincy space, it could literally be in the corner of your living room or it could be in a Tupperware. I don't know what it looks like for you. It could be on the go in your car. It could be an actual office. Whatever it is, I want you to freshen it up. So I want you to make sure that everything's accessible, meaning like you can get to your labels quickly, you can get to your testers quickly, you can get to your samples quickly, you can get to all that quickly. If you have everything in just one big box and it's a mess, I want to encourage you to organize it. Okay. Because one of the biggest issue or things that I come across in consultants, because 99% of y'all have other jobs that aren't Cincy, right? The biggest thing you guys tell me is you don't have time. Well, if I look at it as you don't have a lot of time, right, to grab things, you need to have things accessible, clean as possible, ready to go. I will say I'm very type A, so I am very much an organizer, a planner, all those things. I know that obviously everybody has different personality types and work types, but I will say working in a mess is never going to get you, what am I trying to say? If you work in a mess, you're never going to get anywhere. Okay. If you come from an aspect of being somewhat organized, having your samples bulk sampled, right? Having a space to where you know you can grab and go. If somebody does want to take a bag party, you have it ready to go in your space. If it's organized and it's ready to go, you're going to be a lot quicker. You're going to be a lot more productive. Okay. The third thing is figure out what workflow you need to be productive. This is really, really important. It can be, I put examples in my notes like time blocks. Maybe you need to get up earlier in the morning, later nights. Maybe you need to work before you get out of the car, setting a timer, etc. So one thing that I do, okay, now I do Cincy not just full time, but it's my only job now. And I like to say both of those things because I did work Cincy and a full-time job for 5.5 years before I left that job. And so when I did that, my workflow was different. I was working in the car, I was getting up earlier, and I was going to bed later. I was doing all three of those things, but you have to figure out when are you going to be able to work? For me, what is the most helpful for me, because I work from home, is setting a timer. So I started back on that today. So for example, and this may seem really type A, but if you're out of rhythm, you have to become type A in some ways to get in rhythm in your business. And I know that sounds really like, well, I don't know, Chloe, like I don't work like that. Well, in order to run a business like this, which is totally self-sufficient on you doing tasks, you have to have your stuff together. And so if you don't have a workflow, meaning you don't know when you're working Cincy, right? And I know it sounds crazy to say like, oh, in the car working Cincy, but for some of y'all, that could be highly productive time. Like if you knew and you had sticky notes in your car of the 3 tasks you do while you're in the car, one could be You know what I mean? Like going live in your stories. The second is customer follow up. The third is, building connections to sponsor. Those three things you could do in the car in 5 minutes. So if you don't have a workflow, I want to encourage you to do that. And I just use the timer on my iPhone. Some people, I've watched trainings where people have used kitchen timers and things like that, but I work from my phone, so it's easier just to do the timer on my phone. So like this morning, I checked emails for 10 minutes and responded to emails and did cut like a customer return. When that went off, I switched and did updated my team page and my leadership page with my images I do. When that timer went off, I did something else. And so whatever it needs to be to make you productive and not procrastinate or not wait is how you need to set yourself up for success, right? And then the last couple things, you need to prep for your customers. All right. This is something I haven't really trained on or talked about in a new year, but you need to prepare like your brain and make like pretty much a plan for, okay, how am I going to party this year? How am I going to get PRV? Let's take party out of it. Okay. Not everybody parties. How are you going to get PRV this year for your customers? What are you going to send them this year? This is a big one. And this is something that needs to be talked about because postage is unreal. So, what is your happy mail going to look like? How are you going to keep it a stamp, right? What is your follow-up system going to look like for your customers? So, follow-up system, samples, and what's your PRV style? Those three things need to be planned because then this is what's interesting to me is we talk a lot about sales goals and recruiting goals, but not how to get there. And you're not going to get sales and you're not going to get recruits without having a plan for that. So I do want you guys thinking as we're talking tonight, like, how are you prepping for your customers? How are they, when they see you this year and they look at you and they get their samples and they experience Scentsy, what does that look like? Right? What does your customer service look like this year? What is the ideal customer experience look like that you're going to give them? Okay. All right. Next is how are you prepping for your team? So anybody who has a team, meaning 1 or 1,000, it does not matter. You need to prep for your team.
Mm-hmm.
So what does prepping for your team look like? What do trainings look like this year for your team? What does connection look like for your team? So how are you connecting with your team? And what resources are you giving your team? So those are three things I want you guys thinking about with your team this year. What does trainings look like? And trainings too that are going to make you you. So like not everybody has to do the same type of training. So I want you guys to like be creative with that and think like, how do you want to help your team do well this year? How do you want to train them and equip them? It's going to look different for everybody, connection and resources. And the last thing I want to talk about before Justin goes into his stuff is dreaming. I'm a really big dreamer. I've always been a really big dreamer. I know a lot of you guys on here are as well. And this is really important. And I actually switched it around because first I had us talking about dreams for your business, but you guys already know, if you know me, I'm big on personal dreams, like you and your family and yourself and those kinds of things. So the first thing I want you guys to really dream about and really map out for your 2025 year is what are your personal dreams for 2025? So what are you, when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, what are things that you know you need to do? Okay. So I'm talking, we're going to get real because that's just how I am. So health. Are you healthy mentally and physically? If you are not, I want you to focus on that first. And I know that sounds really crazy and really dumb, but I really don't care because I know what it looks like to not focus on yourself and work Scentsy and what that does to somebody. And it took me a really long time to get back to where I'm at now. And so every person on here right now, there's probably something that you have not taken care of for yourself. I want you to do that first. Okay? Do that first. Make the appointment. Like, take care of yourself. This is very, very important because if you don't make it a priority, you are going to just continue to overwork and do Scentsy and do all these things, and it's going to be catastrophic for your business. And I don't want you to burn out. Okay. Also, what are you saying no to and what are you saying yes to? I want you to think about that as you guys go into this year. What are you saying no to? I'm saying yes to this call because this is important to me to do these calls this year, right? However, I'm not doing coaching calls this month because I didn't want to go into the year doing that. So what are you saying yes to and what are you saying no to in your business and in your personal life? And do you have hobbies? This sounds really dumb, but listen, a couple years ago, I had none. Now I'm starting to get them. I do gardening. I'm starting to learn how to sew. I think those are the only two hobbies I have
for now.
for now. But 12
You
years
like
ago,
playing pickleball?
I've played literally twice. But before the past 2, 3 years, I had no hobbies.
Yeah.
All I did was Cincy.
Since he was your hobby and your job.
Cincy was my hobby. And Cincy's great, but Cincy is not a hobby for me. It's a business now. So I want you guys to also think about what hobbies do you have? Do you have a hobby? And if you don't, get one, man. It has helped me so much just with like my joy and my peace, and it's helped me be a better consultant and a better person.
Where are
Okay.
you serving too? Because you started serving too, and then you love doing that.
Yeah, and I started serving in youth a couple years ago, which a lot of you guys know, but that was, if you are plugged into your community, if you're not plugged into your community, whether it be church or outside of church, anywhere in your community, I think is great.
Serving.
In general,
Giving,
serving is great in general in your community.
giving's the biggest thing you can do for your business and anything.
Yeah, so personal dreams, first thing. And then I want you guys to write these down. So as you guys, because I told you guys,
And I'm gonna need one of those blankets. You started making blankets. We love
oh, we
blankets
could
over
do a little
here.
switcheroo, girl. I'm trying to learn how to make some clothes, so we could do a little switcheroo.
Yeah.
But I want you guys to be writing these things down as dreams come into your head. I want you writing these things down tonight. I want you being bold, writing it down so you can go ahead and actively start becoming accountable to, okay, how am I going to take care of myself this year? So I can have a highly productive business. So when I am in the car and I know I could work Cincy for 10 minutes, I can do it instead of crying and being overwhelmed because I'm not taking care of myself. Do y'all see the difference? If you are taking care of yourself, and again, I will beat this down to the floor because this is not talked about enough in direct sales. You must take care of your mental health. Mm-hmm. Please just do that for me this year. You will be such a better person. Okay. Trust me. Y'all have seen me through the years. We cannot go back. We cannot go back to that. And then the next thing I want you dreaming about is your business. Mm-hmm. What do you want your business to look like on December 31st? What if you could close your eyes and you could picture the biggest success in your business? What does it look like? Okay. Do you want to earn annual sales? Do you want to earn annual mentor? Do you want to earn a trip? Do you want to have a $10,000 PRV month? I remember Alexandria because I saw she was on her earlier. She texted me a few months ago, and even earlier this year, we talked about, she was like, I'm going to have a $10,000 month, and she did it a few months ago. So, that may seem really out of reach, and some of y'all may be like, I would never do that. But whatever your business dreams are, I want you writing them down. I want you thinking bold. I want you thinking big. Do you want to have a $2,000 PRV month? Those are just some examples. Do you want to go to SFR? Do you want to promote? Do you want to replace your income? Do you want just an extra X amount a month? I want these things written down when you guys are writing down these business dreams for 2025. I want us to be super in depth and very intentional. Okay. And so I want you guys writing these dreams down. And then after that, it's going to be time to make an action plan. An action plan is really, really simple. It's literally going to be, these are your goals that you want to hit in 2025 for your personal life and your business, both. I want the action plan for both. Hang on.
You want me to share the screen?
No, I'll share the action plan we have on the pages after this. I'm just making it very simple for them.
Gotcha.
Because the action plan is simply, this is what it is. These are the things you want. How are you going to get there is the action plan. Okay. So you want to hit 2000 PRV 5 times this year. Okay. You want 2000 PRV 5 times this year. That's a freaking killer goal, by the way. Okay. The next part of the action plan is how are you going to get there? What are you going to do to get there? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I want you breaking your goals down this year. All right. Weekly, monthly, 6-month, and yearly. Okay. 4 types of goals: weekly, monthly, 6 months, and yearly. And then I want you writing them down. I know I said that already, but for me, I take my goals very, very seriously. I actually type everything up and I print it out and I put it on my board, and then I write stuff down on my board. I have a clear board. So if you could invest in anything for your business this year, the clear boards on Etsy are really awesome, and they have cheaper ones now, but there is such a difference. It's almost like whenever you have the little whiteboard on the fridge and write stuff on it for groceries, like there's a difference in actually having something in front of your face. And I'm a firm believer in that. And just sharing your goals with somebody. Okay. So after you write all these goals down and think about it, I want y'all to be intentional. This shouldn't be something that you do in a night. This should take you a couple of days, because your goals and your dreams and your aspirations for this year matter. After you write all of them down, I want you to send them to me or your sponsor. If you don't have a sponsor, send them to me. I want to read them. I want to see them. I want to stand in agreement with you. I want to dream with you. Okay. It's really important not only to write them down, but to share them. Okay. This sounds very, very weird.
They just did a study. If you write it down, you're 83% or something crazy. They just released
Yeah.
a study. It's like
Mhm.
83% more likely to hit the goal if you write it down. I
Yes.
don't know. You have to look up that statistic, may be off. It may be only like
No,
63,
no, it
but
is. That's the thing.
it's extremely high.
Yeah. And so are you scanning this for questions? And if y'all have
Yeah.
any questions along the way, feel free to ask, but I figured y'all wouldn't have any yet. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys, because I know for me to get a fresh start, I have to do all these things I just said: eliminate clutter, create my fresh space, figure out my workflow for this year. It's always going to be different, guys.
My body still hurts from her eliminating the clutter because I had to go to the dump and take it all.
He did. I decluttered my whole house. I don't
Everything
play.
got decluttered.
Nothing was safe.
Nothing.
Zero. Nothing was safe.
My
But
ECU vest is gone too.
But no, it's just hidden. I hid some of his shirts because they're ugly. I'm not telling him where they are, but um, when you have a clear space and a clear mind and a clear office space, then when it's time for you to write down your dreams and write down your goals, there is a process for this, and that's why I went in order. So I am going to share all these notes on the pages too. Um, but yeah, that's really what I wanted to share tonight. Justin's about to give you guys some content, a little background about him. So Justin actually just started back at a big boy job
Yes.
3.5 months ago. So he is what do you do? You're a
Assistant vice president for United Bank here. So I deal with
lending,
businesses,
right?
well, yeah,
And
lending
people.
and businesses
Yeah.
generating over $1 million in exposure a year. So
So,
yeah, but
but to break that down, the reason he's going to share, I don't know if he got this off Chat GPT. I
no,
don't
this
really
is
know what
actually
he
stuff
did,
I did.
but he does talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. He closes a lot of deals. He does. Oh, I need to mute. I don't think I muted this. How do I mute it? Hang on, y'all. You remember how to mute?
It's right.
It always,
It's right here in the participants part.
there we go.
Or hold on.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to mute it and I forgot. There we go. I got it. It always goes away. No. All right. But he's gonna share um a little bit more about like the technical side of how to run your business this year, because I'm more of like not a cheerleader, but y'all know I'm more, here's the process, and Justin's more of a numbers guy. So what Justin is going to share with you guys is a couple things that you guys can do this year to really get your business on track, because I've seen some of you guys already share in the chat some of the things you're wanting to do this year. Oh, also, if some of you do a word for your year, I highly recommend that. Mine just came to me this morning when I was journaling and doing my devotional. But if that is, some people are word people, some people aren't. Don't get caught up in that. If you're not a word person, if nothing comes up to you, it's fine. You know what I mean? That's not a big deal. But Justin's gonna share
Yeah.
some of his stuff now.
And so one thing I like to say, and this is something that I'll ask you guys to think about real quick. What's something in your business this year that if you can think of right now was the most valuable for your business that you spent time on? And what I mean by that
That's
was,
good.
what I mean by that is something consistently that you did in your business that you saw and felt results from. If you feel like sharing, please put it in the comments, but I want you to think about that for about 30 seconds. Something that you noticed work in your business that you did consistently and developed a habit for. Just think about it real quick. Chloe, you think too.
I am thinking, yeah, y'all can
That you
totally.
notice, something that you notice, or something you didn't do that you did do. So that could be said, texting my customers 2 times a week. One is personal chat and one, okay, that's something good. I like to see it.
I'm reading everybody's.
Yeah.
I love everything y'all are saying. Yeah, and I think that is
Well,
actually
and
really important
yeah,
because did you get that idea? Because the other night when I was saying what do you want to keep and what do you want to get rid of? Is
yeah,
that what made you think of that?
yeah. Well, and that also, I listened to a podcast, and it's something that you have to think about as owners of businesses. Sometimes you get so used to doing the same thing over and over again because it worked that you don't notice when it's not working no more.
Yeah.
And that's what I want you to start thinking about, being honest with yourselves and thinking about what's something or a month or something that happened this year in your business that you saw a direct benefit from.
And this is great too, because y'all can see that again, see what people do, be encouraged, but you don't have to pick up everything people do, but look at what some people are saying. And
Something that,
these are wonderful ideas.
okay. So good. You're noticing, all right, I'm loving this. Okay. Commending more of my customers. Now,
These are so good. I'm so proud of you
this
guys.
is
Y'all are
great.
ready. Y'all are ready. I love it. Katrina, I'm gonna need you to go live a lot this year. We
Yes.
talked about this the whole last year.
So that's what I'm trying to do here. And it goes along with my first point here, but it also brings something interesting. I'm noticing a lot of things are not geared around building leaders or recruiting, which is not a problem. It's not an issue. I just know that that's something that also has been lacking in general. And it's something for us too, as far as building leaders, where we didn't build leaders and spend time with them, not spending time with them, but they just didn't build, or it just everything started shifting in the past 18 months. I've noticed a huge shift to where everything now is just solely focused on customer and customer relationships. And I think it's because we've been hearing a lot of no's and joining. And so we've just automatically started assuming that people don't want to join. Could be that,
Or they're
or
looking at the fact of because what
yes,
I do is it's like you give the join conversations, you do all you can with that, but PRV is one of those things where it's not easier
you
to attain.
control that a
Yeah.
lot more. You like to have your control a lot more. And so none of this is negative or anything. I just want you guys
Hmm.
to think. And I was seeing if anybody had a thought on something they were working on from a recruiting standpoint that worked to help build their team or grow leaders, which like I said, that's something that we're working
And
to.
if there is anything too that you guys think of tonight or that you're doing to sponsor or to build leaders or to grow your team, share that on any of our pages. And
And that's a good
you
point
know,
too. I've noticed that a lot too. We've noticed that in
who
other
is that?
groups
Oh,
too.
Nia.
We've noticed that in
She
other groups
said, I'm
too.
going to read it even though people can see it. She said, could be the nose, but also when people join, they don't work. So then the focus
We've
goes
noticed
back
that
to
too.
those that are participating in our business. Example, our customers, 100, that's
Yeah,
100% my
that's
issue
authentic.
right
And
now.
like I said, I want this to be
Hmm.
authentic stuff too, but I just want you guys to think about what worked. Okay, now think about something that you have been doing, but it's not working and you haven't seen it work in a long time. What's something that you've been doing that you need to let go of or do something differently?
Let go of.
Just think about it, something that you consistently be doing. It could be as easy as nobody is ordering my cent of the month samples anymore. It could be as easy as nobody's buying LTOs no more, but I spent this amount of time on promoting them. It could be I've done this training this way, but nobody's engaging. I've done this way, nobody
And
like
I know for me, I'll start. So like I was doing YouTube videos. I gave it like 2 years almost. I really was trying like for customers and I wasn't seeing.
I need to let go of the winging it system. That is the most authentic, awesome
Who
comment
is it?
ever.
Oh, Nikki knows. I know
Yeah.
Nikki. I know. I know. We've been working on it. But here's the thing too. You have to look at when you look at your business, you have to look at we are basically flying this plane and we are building this plane. This is not a corporate job.
Yeah.
This is not, you know what I mean? And so also giving yourself grace and that knowing when to let go. So like even me, for example, with the YouTube, I was like probably 3 months ago, I was like, I could be more productive by simply meeting somebody for coffee and recruiting them.
Yeah.
Or so that is something I'm letting
Yeah.
go. I'm done with
Well,
it.
and I love this. Michelle, I need to go thinking I'm not good enough as a leader and to start sharing what I do because it does work. Yes, it
Amen.
does.
Alex,
And
letting go of constantly posting in people's groups and they are oh, a
yeah,
hundred. No.
absolutely.
And here's the thing. This is why for me, Facebook is like it can be so overwhelming. When y'all are in all those pages, it can feel like you need to post. But like I've always told my leaders, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all never have to post in any of my pages. Y'all never have to do any of that. I want y'all focusing on your business, your team,
Amen.
your leaders. Everything though that you do extra that you do on Anchored Sense or Anchored Together, though, we see it and we are grateful, but you never have to do that.
Courtney Mars getting rid of her team chat. Yeah. And so that I just want you
That was good.
and think about this further because I know this is kind of on the spot, but I want you to go into the next week and the next 2 weeks. And my challenge of you is to go through and look at every single paycheck you had in this past year. Because you need to do that. If this is serious to you, you want to learn to grow. Look at every paycheck you had. What was your best? What was your worst? What happened in the best month that made it the best? And what was going on in the worst month? I want you to go do a deep dive. Now, Cincy is very cyclical. What that means is your biggest paycheck is probably going to be October or November. Your lowest paycheck is probably going to be in June or July or
Or
January
January,
or
yeah. It
January.
doesn't have to be
It doesn't
though.
have to be, but I want you to go back through and if you have some sort of system, go through the order history, see why people weren't ordering, see if there was something that happened that you could have done differently,
Or what were you,
or
or
what were you doing? Yeah,
just to be honest, because y'all know Chloe, you know me, maybe you weren't doing nothing that month.
yeah.
Maybe you ask me how many people I sponsored last month.
So Chloe's gonna get mad at me.
Zero. No, zero. But guess what? I wasn't trying to sponsor. So when you look at those months,
Be
I want you to
honest.
be honest with yourself. And I want you to go, what was I doing? And again, give yourself grace, but also you have to, we talk about this every year, I feel like, but this is so important to start you off. You have to be real with yourself, not to hurt yourself and criticize yourself, but so you can get better, so you can learn and be a better version of yourself this year.
Yeah,
That's why you reflect and look back, but you must look back and look at what you did. And if you're running in a circle like a hamster wheel and you're like, I did everything I need to do, that's when you text your upline and you go, hey, I need a coaching call. And we can look at it and I can go, okay, this is maybe something that you don't see that I see. That's when you reach out to somebody
yeah.
and then get help after you look at everything.
And so another way of looking at this, and this is me using my analytical brain because 90 days is a true test of everything that you're doing. So habits form within 90 days. So you can see the habits you were doing and the mood you were in 90 days. And I know that that's a weird way of saying it, but it's true. So what I want you to do, and this is my challenge, after you look at the paycheck, I then want you to do a sort for your pay. And you guys know how to do that, right? How you can create pay statements on your account tab. Does everybody know how to do that?
Some
They are. They're
people,
saying
okay,
yes.
good.
Everybody's
Some
saying
may
yes.
not.
I
Tell
want
them
you to
how really
go.
quick.
So on your accounts tab, you can go down and create a pay statement. What I want you to do, my challenge for you is this. I want you to do a pay statement from January to March, April to June. Do one for every quarter. So you should have 4 statements. I want you to combine all 4 of those statements for last year. And I want you to turn around on the back of those and write what went well, what didn't. That way you can build on this year and change them and compare quarters. Businesses typically work on a quarterly basis. I know that for me, when I'm looking at Cincy, I always don't like to look at things by the month because January is going to be low, but March is probably going to be way better. So I learn more of a sales cycle usually for us, even though we get sales immediately. We also know that we're about to go through a new catalog and people are going to start getting tired of fall scents right probably about the end of January. Going into
Yeah.
February, they're going to want to be floral. Going into March, they're going to want to be full blown happy mode.
But let me just pause and say though, because I keep up with trends, people are still really into wintry, frosty stuff right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I haven't even told Justin this. This can and will be a very successful January with PRV if you focus in on getting that clean, fresh, frosty, wintry vibe,
Yeah.
because people are very much still into that this month.
Now, and then we're going to take it a step further. Okay. And then I promise you, I'm going to go through everything else. I'm going to go through everything else really quick because the stuff you've heard, I'm just breaking it down a lot more
And we'll share
simple.
the notes.
And yeah, we'll share the notes. So after you look at your paychecks, you get your quarter. Now, within those quarters, I want you to write down your top three customers in each quarter. All right. Do that. Okay. After you do that, then I want you to ask how many times you asked those three people to join Cincy or if they join Cincy. There you go.
I would even take it a step
You
further.
got 12 people to follow up with though, unless it's the same people. And if it's the same people, then go down further. That's your 12 people this year. You've already got 12 prospects to join already this year.
But even take it a step further, if they are local, if they are within 35 miles of you, try to just get coffee with them. This sounds very like you don't have time, you don't whatever. My best consultants that I still have to this day, I either met with coffee or stopped and took time with them. Just if they're local, I want to encourage you, just try to like be like, hey, I actually have like a little goodie bag I can give you too. Like, let's grab coffee or let's, you know what I mean? Like,
And we're doing this exercise too, by the way. I'm gonna pull all this stuff for Chloe for her to look at. And I want January to be a working month for 2025,
ooh,
interactive
okay.
for everybody. Because I feel like if we're working together and looking at this stuff together, then we can get on the same path together for it.
We
So
can do another call end of month too,
to
actually,
see everything.
to
So
do that.
has anybody ever done an exercise like this before?
When would we do
I'm
this?
just talking, I'm just seeing, like, I'm just curious to know. So, this is where you start actually getting into, I don't like to say into the weeds, but just really understanding. And I promise you, it will probably shock you because I get shocked all the time with, like, where did this customer come from? How did they find me? Why did they order from us? I said that to Chloe like 20 times this year, and she's just like, I don't know. And she ends up following up with them. She's like, oh, dang, this is actually a really cool person. And so it's just like, it's yeah, recruit and research. It's something I do. I'm back into doing the same thing again now. I did it for like 15 years when I worked at a bank, got out of the bank, did it when I worked at Smash following up with the customers, and then I've been out of it for a while. So now my mind's just racing again because this is how you make people feel special, but it also gives you a pulse on your business and it may surprise you. You may look at it like, wow, yeah, I was down in January and I was doing this wrong, but dang, I picked it up in March, or like, dang, I could have done this. Wow, I missed this. What did Cincy do back in March? Let me go look at the
Well,
newsletter.
they were energized about the catalog. So it's
Yeah,
also like, how do you energize yourself this month? So I really love that Justin is saying, let's take January as like a, what'd you say, like a
working.
working month
Yeah,
to really like everything we've talked about tonight to really map
build your
out your
year.
year.
Yeah, go ahead and let's map out the year. And so that's what I said. It's a simple system. That's the first thing, just a simple system. And it's basic stuff of just knowing your business and knowing what is successful for you and what doesn't work and getting rid of it. The main thing for
Get
leaders,
rid of
the
it.
main thing for leaders and what slows a leader down is not their leadership ability. What slows a leader down more than anything is having too many activities because you're distracted and you're not.
And we overthink a
Yeah,
lot.
and that is definitely the killer. Like you got to just learn how to just make a decision of what works and what doesn't
And
work.
set a timer if you
And
have to.
and
Just
yeah,
do it.
and so you will be a lot less overwhelmed once you have a plan and you know your business vision for 2025, or at least for the next 90 days. Like I said, I like to look at things in a 90-day cycle. If it works for 90 days, it's going to continue to work for the next 90 days. And then when it stops about 45 days into that 90 days, okay, I need to pivot for the next 90 days. We need to do something else.
Let me do a
So
coaching call
that
with Chloe
that's
or your upline. That's when you need a coaching
that's
call.
that's where it's like, okay, I've been doing this, it's not working anymore. What do I need to do now? And sometimes it's going back to something you did 6 months prior to that or a year prior to that and starting back over and going to there again. But a 90-day plan, I think, is golden because I'll be honest with you. I have been in
Yes,
business.
he's running a 12-week year.
I have
Yes.
been in business for or been around businesses my whole life, from my dad starting a plumbing business, like I've been around entrepreneurs my whole life. You'll hear, and in the banking world, I see it all the time. I have yet to see a budget, a sales plan, or anything that you set in January hit in December. Something always happens. Yearly goals are great. Don't get me wrong. But the likelihood of 100% hitting where it's going to happen without being ready for something else to happen. So my suggestion is make a 12-month plan, but then break it
50% of
down.
that's great though. You
Yeah,
get 50% of that
it
that
is.
plan for the year, and baby, that's better
So,
than nothing.
so what I'm saying is make the 12-month plan, then break it up into quarters, see what you did. So take your plan that you want to do this year. Okay. And this is the simplest way I can explain it. So if it's confusing, I'm sorry. Take your plan for this year, compare it to what you did last year. If you are way off, meaning I'm just throwing numbers out there, 40,000 this year in sales, but you only did 13,000, that's not a realistic goal. You want to make sure you're increasing everything by 20%. So take what you did last year in recruiting, PRV, and only increase it by 20%. That's realistic. That's what every business does. It's always a 20% increase.
That's great. Move on, babe.
So a simple system. Yeah, that's
You've got
that.
lots of notes, and we got 15 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm not only gonna
These
I'm gonna go
babies
through
is
these quick.
tired on
All
here.
right. So basically it's just literally you just need to have a simple system. And I don't want to even run through this, but I always say this: you dedicate, if you can, 1 hour a day to Cincy.
Well, and if you can't, a lot of people can't do an hour a day. Like I
But
said, find your pocket. We've talked a lot
or
about that over
30
the
minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night.
you have to figure out when to work. It depends on your goals too. Like if you're
Yeah.
trying to make $2,000 paychecks consistently with Cincy, you gonna have to
Yeah.
work a little more,
So
So you have to adjust.
and my suggestion, and Chloe already said it, is for PRV, get great at one system. What's one system in PRV, whether it's texting your customers with a mail out,
Cincy,
following
yeah.
up, what's one system altogether that you're going to master this year? And
Mhm.
how are you going to master it? It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to get really great at Cincy Club. Okay, well, how are you going to
How?
get
That's
really
a part
great
of
at
the
it?
action plan is
How
the
are you
how.
going to get really great at Cincy Club? Break it up. All right. And Chloe already said this too. It's in my notes. It's so funny. Setting yourself up for success is my second thing, and it's your environment. So, I can't explain that. Even for me, I work in chaos sometimes, but I work my best whenever I have everything laid out for me that I know in plans for me to work on them. So,
Because I'm going behind him in the house and picking up all the hangers and picking up all the stuff. And
yeah.
yeah, that's why.
So, anyways, yeah. So your environment is important. Having things around there, keep your goals visible.
I
Like I
talked
said,
about
yeah, you
that.
got to keep them visible.
Y'all
And
get an acrylic board. They're so
and
good.
distractions are huge because I am a squirrel. I was at this house for 2 years after I sold my companies, just working with Chloe. And when I started work, I feel like I've gotten more done around the house with me being back at a job than I did when I was here for 2 years. And the reason why is
Working from home ain't no joke. You
I
have to have
don't,
discipline,
yeah,
man.
but the reason why is because I don't have the time now and I have to eliminate the distractions and I have to wake up and get things done because I'm not distracted. Here, I could find 100 things that are not important to do throughout the day. So yeah, the environment's good. Mindset's great. What's something that is builds your positivity up for people? It's reading devotions, it's reading your
Podcasts,
Bible, it's podcasts.
podcasts,
What's
music.
something that is a positive influence in your life that gives you the biggest uplifting thing? Start your day off with some positive affirmation, any type of positivity. Fill yourself with a spirit if you have to, whatever it is to get yourself ready for the day, to limit distractions and get going.
I'm going to share too on the pages after this call tonight. There was a video. I've talked about this on my trainings in the past, but I forgot what it was called now. I can't believe it, but it was like a boxing voice in the background, like a man. Remember
Oh
it?
yeah, it was yeah, you said I
I
have it saved still.
listened to this video for a whole year, and it was just about being determined and getting it done. And like it was crazy, but in that year that I listened to that, I would listen to it over and over. It's called like the greatest motivational speech of all time, is literally the title of it on YouTube, and I'll share it. But that like, I just remember listening to that. It'd be like 1 in the morning, and I'd be finishing up working Cincy, or like 5 in the morning getting ready for work because I used to be a nurse. And it really really motivated me. Like,
So
so I'm going to
yeah,
share that.
what yeah, and that's just it. So the and within the setting yourself up for success, I broke it out into three things. It's your environment, your mindset, and your schedule. That's how you those three things, environment, mindset, and schedule is how you set yourself up for success. So within your schedule, how you don't look at it so much as a day, you look at it on a weekly basis. It's the same thing with looking at things on 90 days. You want to look at it on a weekly basis. So Chloe talks about time blocking all the time. It works, guys. You just got to stay consistent with it.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency builds. So if you only have 30 minutes on Monday to do something and 30 minutes on Friday to do something, what is the highest impact after you do the activity I asked you to do on what went well and what do you need to keep doing
And I'm
that
going to
work
tell
well?
y'all what you would do if you just had Monday and Wednesday. Monday, you're having recruiting conversations and connecting. Wednesday, you're selling. Those are the two most important
And
things that
guys,
you need to do in
I
your business.
promise you, I did this exercise and it made me sick. I remember we did it in a church small worship small group one
What?
time. Go into the settings and look at how much time you spend on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, you said you don't have an hour. I promise you, you do.
That's why I don't scroll, man, on all the apps.
I
That's why I
promise you,
pick
you
one
do.
app.
Has anybody done that exercise before you, where you look at the settings and look at the
Go
time spent on your phone?
look right now. Type in the comments. Y'all go look on your phones. Tell us.
Now, I was trying to find my phone earlier. I wanted to do it. Let me look at
Tell
Chloe's.
us how much screen time did you have today?
Let's see. I'm gonna look at Chloe's real quick.
Y'all look. I know mine's bad.
I just want to see
I
where.
try to eliminate distractions as much as possible. I turn my Wi-Fi on. I don't know why it's off. My Wi-Fi is off.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm doing it right now.
Beth's, is that CC?
Probably.
All right. Well, you need to get her and get off my phone
Hold on.
because
Try
we
to
got to
find. How do you find that
continue.
screen
Baby,
time?
we don't have time to be doing that right
Click
now.
on Chloe. Click
We
on
don't
your
have
name.
time. Cece's walking down. You need to continue. You need to keep going, baby. You're
Okay.
training. I'll get her.
All right. But yeah. So, hey, baby girl. Our daughter just woke up. All right. So everybody's sharing it in the comments. I'll share it real quick too.
You say hi.
Say hi. Hi. 4.5 hours. 1.5 hours was work/Cincy. Okay, so people are doing it 9 hours, Maggie. Yeah, it just blows your mind sometimes when you look at it. But anyways, yeah. So I've shared simple systems, keeping things simple as possible. Like I said, breaking down as much as you possibly can, setting yourself up for success with your environment, mindset, and your schedule. And I like to use Sundays too, at least setting three goals you want to accomplish for the week. Three goals for that week you want to accomplish is huge on
Well, and the
Sundays.
big thing, honestly, I the 3 goals a week for whatever sounds great on a Sunday. We don't do that most of the time. You know what we do really do on Sundays? We reset.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
We clean the house. I make sure my stuff is ready for the week. My clothes are washed. We set ourselves up for success every Sunday. And that if y'all, I mean, I'm sure there's many of y'all on here that know what I'm talking about. You're like, let me go to the grocery store on Sunday. So just set yourself up for success on Sundays or on that day because that's really going to help you get ready for the week in your
Yeah.
business when everything else is done.
And that's it. And just like I said, my main thing, and I have something on here and I've shared this every year, is the realistic goals. And that's why I say don't try to increase yourself so much and setting yourself up for failure. It's easy to say, I want to do 5,000 PRV a month every month. Well, if you were only doing 1,000 or if you're only doing 700, that is very hard. I'm not saying you cannot attain it. I'm saying it is very hard to attain. So just make sure follow the SMART goal framework, which is the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So you just want to make sure these goals are something that you can actually track. They're smart and I always say realistic because I remember I used to be very ambitious, and when I didn't hit the goal or I didn't even come close, then it got to the point of why am I even making goals? Then I'm not even coming close to hitting them or doing whatever I want to do with them. So then I started coming back and just trying to increase at least 5% or 1% better or doing something a little bit better every day. Um, and that's why, people talk about New Year's resolutions. By the second Friday, they're done. And so instead of like, that's why I feel like sometimes we can get like that within our Cincy, where we make like a Cincy resolution or some type of resolution to where it's going to be better, it's going to be different, where really it's just the next day as far as going into the new year. I've kind of grown. I love the new year, new me, the new this, new that, but literally it's just going to another day. And so the way you get better and staying consistent with your resolutions is developing the habits and getting 1% better every day.
You get better by just doing it.
Yeah, better. You get better by doing it 1% better every day. And so that's honestly what I had on all of my trainings. Chloe actually
Yeah.
covered a lot of it and everything like that. So, like I
Yes.
said, my homework for you guys, though, remember one thing: your biggest paycheck, your lowest paycheck. What were you doing that month? What were you doing this month? Then taking the 90-day every quarter and looking at what you're doing, your top customers, and if they joined or how many conversations you had. And then we're going to talk about more on the pages and stuff.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're actually going to so first of all, don't forget anchoredsense.com in the leadership section on that website, we have an action plan there for you that will walk you through how to make one, okay? I'm also going to post the motivational video because it's fire. But also, we are going to schedule a call when we get off this call for the end of this month, and we'll put it on the pages to hold you guys accountable and to do an actual recap. And Justin's going to walk through the next steps after the plan he's talking about to hold you guys accountable for the month of January. I think that's needed right now. I know I need it. And
I
that
just want a
way,
2025 plan for the year and help you guys get it going
yeah.
for this year.
So we will schedule that. We're going to post that on the pages so y'all know when that call will be. It's going to be recorded like this one. And then that way we can have a plan for everybody. And we can also have everybody's videos together on that call. So everybody can come up and kind of talk with Justin, and we can kind of make sure everybody's good, that everybody has just a direction. We just need a direction. We want you guys to feel encouraged, excited. We want you guys to figure out how to tap into motivation, because there's a way to actually tap in when you're not feeling motivated, to tap in and get the things done you need to do. So we'll do that and get that scheduled and posted as well.
I think it's great.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording.